It's time for Around the Ozarks News, brought to you by the Springfield-Greene County Park Board, Blue Current, and Thompson Sales. Here are your hosts, Ethan and Sara Foreheads.
Hey, good morning to you. Tuesday, as we're moving through the week. It's been 1 week since the election, which it seems like an eternity since then, but we've been 1 week away.
Yeah, it does seem like longer than that, maybe. I don't know.
It does. Yeah. At any rate, we got some news to tell you about today.
All right, we do have some good news. The subject of yesterday's Amber Alert is alive and well. The Missouri State Highway Patrol says 2 children and a mom, all who went missing near Phillipsburg Sunday night, are safe. They disappeared after they left O'Fallon with 2 men Sunday night. Investigators say the group made a stop in Phillipsburg, and somehow apparently the mom and the children were forcibly separated at the stop. But again, they are all 3 alive and retrieved and doing well. So no other details. Lots of questions there that we don't know. Perhaps we will learn more a little later this morning.
Well, that's good. I was everybody, like everybody else. We saw the Amber Alert yesterday, and it was so vague. It was a black SUV with a picture of a child inside. Mean, what do you want me to do with that? You know what I mean?
I mean, it's still
getting the word out, but that seemed there's a million black SUVs.
I mean, and I know that sometimes they want.
I don't think what I saw had the license plate number. I don't remember,
but the kids and I stopped and prayed. We saw it on the message boards as well. So, good news, and it was fun to be able to report to the kids that the kids were found safe. So. The police chief in Clever has resigned. Michael Evans is charged with domestic assault that happened actually in Springfield last Thursday night. The city says his resignation is connected to that incident. Evans has only been there since July as chief, serving in that capacity. He's now in the Greene County Jail.
Wow. Okay. That's a shift. Newly elected Missouri Senator Eric Schmidt, who was previously the state's attorney general, withdrew his name from consideration from possibly being named the attorney general in the Trump administration. Schmidt says instead he would rather roll up his sleeves and be a champion for President Trump in the U.S. Senate. So he is not interested in becoming AG at this point. Kansas City Chiefs could be even stronger with 3 players now getting closer to returning after injury. Juju Smith-Schuster, Isaiah Pacheco, and Charles Omenihu. I knew I was going to mess that up. Omenihu. When you say it fast, it works. But
Omenihu, yes.
That's when you get in trouble. Charles Omenihu, all close to returning now. All 3 of them have been out for varying lengths of time because of injuries. Even so, Chiefs are 9-0 without him. Although it was very close over the weekend. Coach Andy Reid says all 3 are very much needed and will be welcomed back when they're ready to go. So that should be soon, he said. Heads up, if you fly Allegiant, as the wife and I tend to from time to time, the airline's pilots say they plan to strike if they're not offered a new and better contract. Their union says Allegiant's 1,300 pilots are the most overworked and underpaid in the industry. And then the carrier says, Allegiant, for its part, says it's offering a pay raise averaging 70% over 5 years with better benefits. So somehow there's a stalemate between the two. Allegiant flies to 7 destinations out of Springfield. I just flew back from, where did I fly back from? Sarasota, Punta Gorda, I flew from. You and I flew to Destin.
Flew on Allegiant?
On a return flight because it was so cheap. And we went to Destin to and from on Allegiant, and from time to time to visit my friends. I lived out there for 5 years, so I've got friends out there that I get to visit every now and then.
All right. Yeah. So watch out for that. I mean, that might be true. Maybe that's why Allegiant is cheaper. Maybe it's because they don't pay their people anything.
Well, 70% raise sounds pretty nice.
Yeah, that's wild. Can you imagine? I mean, I was like 70% raise. Like, that's unheard of, you know?
Yeah.
All right. I love this next story. Harriet Tubman Harriet Tubman, the Harriet Tubman from the Underground Railroad, was just posthumously awarded the rank of general for her time spent overseeing military action during a time of war. Tubman became a one-star brigadier general yesterday in Maryland in the state's National Guard. The governor there said, quote, "Today we celebrate one of the greatest authors of the American story." Can I get an amen?
Yeah, that's
no, sir.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Tubman escaped slavery herself in 1849 and went on to free hundreds more through her establishment of the Underground Railroad at great risk to her own life, of course. She then became a scout and spy and nurse for the Union Army during the Civil War.
Wow. She has an incredible story. I mean, it's an amazing story, honestly. The movie is good, and our kids, one of them did a report on her, right?
I was obsessed with Harriet Tubman as a kid. So then when all three of them at different times have had to do different history programs and presentations. And so I turned our oldest on to Harriet Tubman, and then she got obsessed with Harriet Tubman. So she's read all the books and watched all the movies and done lots of research. And so I feel pretty familiar with her story, and I think it's cool. And had I known that was happening before it happened, I might have tried to buy a plane ticket on Sky Miles or something to Maryland. That would have been such a cool ceremony to be at in person. But I didn't know there was a thing until after it was already over.
Okay.
Yeah. There you go. But I mean, it's just incredible. Like, she is a hero of every kind. I love, some people might know the newer Harriet song. I think it was out, I don't know, probably 3 or 4 years ago. But if you don't know it, look it up. It's just called Harriet.
From the movie.
Yeah, it's from the movie. It was like the soundtrack. So, okay, that is it for the news. We would like to tell you once again about our contest that is going on now through Friday. We'll pick the winner on Friday. You can go to aroundtheozarks.com, click on the Branson Bowl, and you will need a keyword to win. Ethan?
The keyword is productions.
Yes, productions with an S. And you can win a Leo Chanel signed jersey.
He's a hero.
He's like the man of the hour right now because he helped lead the Chiefs to victory by blocking that field goal at the end of the game. So
yeah, I couldn't tell who it was.
Hot ticket item. And we have his jersey for you signed, as well as some custom gear. The Branson as the official vacation destination of the Kansas City Chiefs, custom gear. So make sure you go play right now at aroundtheozarks.com. We will let you know the winner on Friday morning. Man,
that's crazy, the timing of that he's the hero the week that we're giving away his jersey, because there's probably some people who don't know who he is unless you're a big Chiefs fan. But now you know who he is. He's the guy flying through the air to block that kick. And actually, cool. It looked like there were like 5 Chiefs flying through the air to block that kick. So I never did. I could never tell who it was, but I read about it, and it is Chanel.
He's the one. So yep. Okay, well, thanks for playing, everybody, and make sure you get in on the action by Thursday afternoon. So that's when we draw. So that's it. Anything else?
No, I don't think so. That ought to do it.
Have a good day, Gracie. Guys. Good night, Gracie.
It's time for Around the Ozarks Wake Up Weather, sponsored by Rescue Towing, Command Family Medicine, and John's Heating and Air. Here's your host, meteorologist Abby Dyer.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday. We've got temperatures in the upper 30s, near 40 degrees early this morning. It's chilly out. Add the jacket, an extra layer this morning. And then much like yesterday, it'll warm up pretty nicely. And we've got sunshine, at least for the first part of your Tuesday. Cloud cover will increase as we head through the midday hours. I am expecting another nice one, though. Overall, the winds remain light today. A frontal boundary is on the way, and there's rain back in the forecast, but it doesn't get here until very, very late tonight. I'm talking overnight hours into Wednesday. So it's going to be another dry day in the Ozarks. You can get out, get the grass cut. I know some of you are just now finally seeing the ground dry enough to get that done after all of the flooding rains that were out there last week. Another nice day. Clouds will increase through the course of the day, and the weather map today shows that most of the active rainfall during the daylight hours on Tuesday will be well back to our west. I'm talking a line all the way from portions of Texas, back up through Oklahoma, portions of Kansas, into Iowa, and this stretches all the way up into Minnesota as an upper level trough moves through. We won't see the rainfall until very late tonight, and even tomorrow, I think the showers will be limited. Yes, there's a chance for some showers and a few thunderstorms, rumbles of thunder with a couple of these on Wednesday, but this is not going to be some huge, massive, downpour that's going to last a long time. I'm expecting it to be pretty quick moving as we get into the forecast on Wednesday. We will stay mild temperature-wise. I told you yesterday, generally you can expect 40s for lows and 60s for highs, and that's pretty much what we're seeing. For the rest of the work week, all the way through the weekend, things should stay fairly mild for us. We do have another chance of some heavier rain that could arrive next week. That's what the long range forecast is hinting at. The Ozarks in more than a 40% chance for seeing above normal precipitation. So I'll be watching that forecast for next week as that gets a little bit closer. Our immediate forecast, though, looking pretty good. We've got high temperatures today of 64 in Springfield. Once again, tonight will be either side of that 40-degree point. I do have mostly cloudy skies in the forecast tomorrow and a chance for rain. That's the only chance for rain this week. Then the sunshine returns quickly. By Thursday and Friday, we'll be seeing seasonably warm temperatures in this forecast, again with highs staying in the 60s and lows generally staying in the 40s. Around the country, a couple of different things making headlines. Atmospheric river continuing to bring heavy rain to the low elevation areas, and then high elevation areas are getting heavy snowfall. That's what's happening today in the Pacific Northwest and portions of Northern California. There's also lingering precip for the central Gulf Coast. It's nothing too heavy, but some light rain for the Carolinas back up through portions of Georgia there today. We've also got above average temperatures here in the Ozarks, but that's really kind of the story across much of the country. So we are seeing a pretty active weather, but it's warm. So most of the active weather across the country is happening as rainfall. All right, it's time for the Around the Ozarks Wake Up Weather Brain Twister Trivia question for the day. And the question that I had for you yesterday, out of 12, how many dogs survived the Titanic? And the options that I gave you were 1, 3, 10, or 12. There were 12 on board, and super sad, but only 3 survived. Of course, there were, loss of human life as well. So it may be surprising that any of the dogs were able to survive. They were all very small, the ones that made it, and they did so by being sneaked into the blankets or coats of the owners. All 3 of the dogs that did survive were owned by first-class passengers, and when they were boarding lifeboats, they were able to, tuck the dog in underneath their jacket and bring them to safety. So, that's an incredibly sad story, but at least we did have 3 canine survivors. But congrats if B was your guess. Here is the question that I will leave you with for tomorrow. What is a group of hedgehogs known as? Do you think it is A, cluster, B, a prickle, C, a herd, or D, an armory? By the way, a group of hedgehogs is pretty rare. So if you see one of these, it is a rare occurrence. Let me know your guess. You can do that at aroundtheozarks.com. Thank you so much for listening to Around the Ozarks Wake Up Weather this morning. I am meteorologist Abby Dyer, and thank you to our sponsors, John's Heating and Air, Command Family Medicine, and Rescue Towing. Have a great one. Enjoy the mild day.